Hello everybody and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be motorizing the Harbour freight locomotive, but rather than using the way that LEGO thinks that we should do it, I'm going to be utilizing a circuit cube, Bluetooth cube and a LEGO power functions motor. So what on earth am I on about using a circuit cube with power functions motor? Well, this power functions motor has already had the cabling snipped off from it. As in the past, I've actually utilized some RC power controls in order to move this one about. But I've also found out recently that it's possible to just connect it up to a circuit cube. It's not as fast because the voltage coming out from a circuit cube is less than what these motors would use, but it's pretty much equivalent to what you'd expect from a circuit cube setup anyway. And so I figure, let's just do that, because I'm definitely sure that I can take this locomotive, get rid of this control panel, and have the circuit cube sit in there, I think, quite happily. And then we'll just have the motor underneath, bring the cables up this way to get into the top. Now, I probably won't be able to have a fella in there controlling it, but at the very least, the whole unit will be movable. It might be worth, on this unit, maybe painting the back of these pieces of glass so that it looks kind of blacked out. But that might be more than what I want to do on this video. Certainly consideration for the future though. So to get things started, I'm going to dismantle this one and I'm going to use LEGO's instructions for how the base goes together with a motor in it. And then once I've got the base finished, I'm going to kind of freestyle much of what else goes on, I think. So I'm going to get that started now and then we'll check back in and see how it's going. Right, so I am now just at the point where I would need to put this big 4x6 plate on, and that is going to be somewhat counterproductive, I think, to what I'm trying to achieve with this cable coming up into the cab. So I think it might already be time to start freestyling parts of this. I think I might have a 4x4 like this, but with the hole in the middle. So my plan is if I can get a 4x4 into here with a hole in, then that's going to let me pull my cable up through. So that's my first port of call, I think, is to do that. And then rather than following the instructions entirely, I've still left most things together. So I'm just going to whack those bits back on top. I don't want to be rebuilding the entire thing. The other fun part is that I now also have the little engine that came with it is now completely separated. So it might be fun to put that onto a pallet and it can be something else that goes into one of the train cars at some point. So I'm going to keep that to one side because that'll be fun. But now it's time to try and figure out how I'm going to get that cable to come up and through the way I need it to go. Okay, that was far simpler than expected, so I've managed to put in one of those open plates and I've also reassembled the rear part of the locomotive. My cable is now inside the cab. The only weird part I've got going is this plate that I'm going to use is now free floating. So I think that once I have the front on, that's going to help secure that, but I'll also run a couple of plates along here just to hold it as well. And that will also let me feed the cable up underneath the circuit cube motor. So next steps is get the front put on ready, and part of that I need to remove the control panel setup because that is going to encroach onto the space for the circuit cube. So I'm going to have to remove that, just block it out with a probably a white 1x4, and then we can put that up into place. So that's what I'm going to do next, and let's check in again once I've done that. Well, there we go. That front is now on securely. Everything's going far too according to plan, and I think it's time that we just test putting in the circuit cube motor. So I should have attached these whilst I wasn't holding the camera, but there we go. Silly mistake of mine. So my concern now is that as this goes down and in, that it's going to prevent me from putting the cube motor in. And it's gonna, gosh, it is, yeah, it's going to cause me an issue there. So the cable is stopping me. Oh, I'm dropping everything trying to do this one-handed. I should have put it on the, yeah, let's put it back on the bloody mount. Hang on. Okay, that makes more sense. Now I can use both hands. So as I'm trying to put the cube in, this bit of cable at the front is preventing the cube from going in. So I think what I'm going to need to do is create a channel here for that motor to come up, which means I'm going to have to change how these are mounted and take out some space there. That is a bit more difficulty than I really wanted out of this. I wonder, unless I can just remove, what if I just remove this back part? Can I do that? Or has that got a piece right the way across? Oh, I think that goes into the back section. So here's my current challenge. That's what I need to overcome. I think that the most space is in the front here. So that is where I'm going to try and create that gap from. So let's see if we can manage that. Right, that was a good success there. So I've had to add in where the engine used to be. There's now a brick in there, which is supporting the tiles here. I still need to get some black ones just to fill in this space here. And I think I've got some brackets which just face forwards for these black pieces, so I can probably stick in. So I'm going to see if I can pop those on and use them in order to keep my chimney bit coming up through the top here. But the roof is in place there. As you can see, I've not put the sides on so that you can still see the circuit cube in there. And now I just have to shorten this wire down a little bit, solder in an extension, and then that can plug in. And we are ready to then run this locomotive using the circuit cube. So again, I'm going to go and make those final changes, and then we'll take this out into the garden and give it a run and see how it goes. And there we have it. I've now got this motorized with a circuit cube inside to run it. I've made this chimney stack part a bit thicker just to fill in the gap, and we're ready to test it. So I need to just get my other phone that I use for running my circuit cube motors and get that one all set up and connected, and then we can see whether this is going to run. So I'll grab the coaches and we'll take those downstairs into the garden and see how it goes. So that went pretty well, but as I was getting to the end there, the battery in the circuit cube actually ran out. So I don't think it was as charged as I thought it was. So I'm going to give that one a full charge now And then once it is ready, I'm going to take it back outside. We'll give it a go with all of those wagons again and see how it does with that full load. Definitely struggling in those tighter radius 40 curbs, so this might be better on R50s instead. But it seems like a pretty solid solution. Now, my friend Martin has also motorized his Harbour Freight Loco, and he's using a completely different system that I think that we could utilize as well. But I'm going to give you more on that in a different video. Until then, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, give me a comment what you think about using the circuit cube inside of the locomotive is like. And also, if you enjoy this kind of content, then please subscribe. I'm going to go and get this battery sorted out now, and then I'll see you out with the footage of that test with the full battery. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.